This demo is being brought to you by SQL Server 2012 tutorial.com. Today our topic is installation of SQL Server. We are going to be using SQL Server 2012 for our demonstration. So before we get going, let us go ahead and look at the hardware and software requirements. Currently I am running SQL Server 2012 32-bit eval edition on my system. But as far as what are the minimum requirements, let's take a look at these. The first thing is a CPU running on x86 system. They recommend or require at least 1 gigahertz or faster. 2 gigahertz is definitely recommended. The higher the better. As far as the OS, SQL Server 2012 tutorial will run on Windows 7 Service Pack 1, Windows Vista Service Pack 2, and also Windows Server 2008. Currently I am running this on Windows Vista Service Pack 2. Now the next point is important, which is the RAM. The amount of random access memory minimum is 1 GB. Recommended is 4 gigabytes or more. Currently I am running SQL on 4 gigabyte RAM, so we should have enough for our purposes. Now the hard disk space, as far as SQL is concerned, for the install or the upgrade, they recommend at least 3 gigabyte. That should be available. As far as the disk space is also going to be a factor on how big your databases are. I have about I believe 110 gigabytes on this system, so I believe this is a typo, so we should have enough. Now as far as the framework, .NET 3.5 Service Pack 1 is a requirement for SQL Server 2012. As part of the install, Framework 4, SQL Server Native Client, and SQL Server setup files are installed, like I mentioned, during the setup. As far as Internet Explorer, they recommend 7 or higher. I believe I am running IE9 for our purposes. And if you wanted to find more information on the hardware requirements, here is the website that I am including in this demo. You could go to the internet and paste that link, and this gives you more detail on what else is all involved. In fact, they even give you a breakdown by what version of SQL Server you are running and what do you need to have on the 32-bit side and on the 64-bit side. Okay, so those were the requirements. As far as the actual installation, you can get to the setup files by following this link. It's basically microsoft.com/SQL Server. Let me go ahead and show you this so you have some idea. And once you get in there, we are pretty much going to select download the evaluation, but let me go through this first. So like I said, you will select that option, then you are going to choose SQL Server 2012. I will pick the 32-bit version, and I'm going to choose 3 files. You could also download an ISO image, which basically will let you burn the files onto a DVD, which is also convenient if you are installing on multiple machines. You can install on one and then move on to another one, and so on and so forth. But like I said, we are going to use this option. We will install to this location. So before I even get going, let me browse to this, make sure it is up and running. We don't have any files in there as of yet. And then on the next screen we will continue with the full installation. So before I do that, let me go to the link and follow these steps that are recommended. So like I mentioned, I will select download the evaluation, and here you can browse the information and decide what you are trying to do. In our case, I need to download SQL Server 2012. Okay, and depending on what option you choose, like I mentioned, you could also do an ISO image. If you have a 64-bit machine, you could certainly do that. I'm going to select 32-bit version. My language is United States English, and then I'm going to click on this button. Now this thing, I did notice that I am running Firefox, and I think I was having a little bit of tough time getting to this, so maybe we'll give that a minute, and in the meantime I'm also going to load up my Internet Explorer, and let me see if I can copy this link again, okay, and paste it here. Sometimes there are issues with a certain page depending on what browser you are using. So again, I'm going to click on download eval. I am using IE for this case. Download this one and then select United States English and then click on this one. Now when I do this in IE, I believe I should be getting something. So here we have something. It's asking that is it okay to download, and I will say okay or allow, and now it's asking me where would you like to download these files. So like I mentioned, I'm going to go to let's see, my computer, C drive, and then SQL install. Okay, that's where I would like to download these files. So this will take a few minutes to download, so for now I will go ahead and pause the video. So the files are still downloading. In fact, you can see that this one and this one is already downloaded, and the one on the top, it's still going along. It's a little bit it's a fairly big file, 1.62 gigabytes. Okay, but if you go to the folder, you can see that these two files are already downloaded. What I'm going to in fact do is I have these files saved in my temp drive from a prior install. So you can see that here are the three files: the core, install, and language. And if you just want to show you that these are basically the same files. I had downloaded these in March. So while this is downloading, I'm actually going to show you what you need to do on your end. In fact, let me go ahead and delete this this folder here. What it does is when you extract these files, what it's going to basically do is create that folder. Okay, so once the three files are downloaded, you're going to come here and double click on install.exe. That is going to do basically the unloading of the box. If you go back to your SQL installation, it actually does explain this in detail, but we are basically going to do that. Now while this is unloading, I'm actually going to go ahead and pause this video again, so I will be back. So we are back. It is almost done extracting, and you can see that this is going to ctemp this folder, and then looks like it's done. Now if I go back to my temp folder, you'll notice that today, in fact, it's 5:30, and this is just extracted today. So once you're done, once it's done with it processing, you go into this folder, which is SQL full x86. I'm going to go ahead and actually let me close this one since we're done, and then all you really need to do is double click on setup.exe. okay, and this will say SQL Server 2011 which is actually 2012. Okay, and since we had downloaded this in March, we are getting a SQL Server 2012 release candidate 0. The steps are identical for the release to the market, but just be aware of that. Now let's go ahead and see what happens here. I think we should be getting, there you go. So this is what they call it as the SQL Server Installation Center. There is lots of information in there, some documentation requirements that we looked at, other things like a configuration checker. This is a great tool, Upgrade Advisor. If you have an older version of, let's say 2008 or 2005, you can run this separately and try to get some idea on what needs to happen. I'm going to skip all of this and go straight to installation. Okay. In fact, before I run this, I do want to show you